are listening to Digital Denizens.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Denizens podcast, where we live to discuss all things in the ever-expansive gaming realm. Today is May 1st, episode 33, and I'm your host, Keith Whelan, aka the Gamer Stache. Alongside me, I'm joined by Bradley Whelan. How you doing, man?
Here in the flesh.
Here
finally.
in the flesh, finally. This is the second episode we've done, actually, in the flesh.
Oh, man.
Last
what was
year,
the first one?
Last year we did one in Minnesota.
That's right.
Yeah, this time we're in good old Michigan.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, my friend.
These fancy drinks here.
These fancy gin fizz drinks.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so good. All right, guys. We got an intriguing episode ahead of us, full of loops, pixels, and nonsense. I kept that little touch in there. You're like, I knew you would. Or else.
I'm like the hidden,
overseer?
The hidden, the overseer. I was going to say. The hidden editor in the background. I'm just like editing your
randomly.
Google documents. Like
you're
like, wait, I don't remember that word being in there.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I don't get the reference.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, I just like splash in TLC references throughout your podcast.
Oh my god. My buddy Chris, it was a couple episodes ago, my buddy Chris was on here, and as I'm like reading it, Chad does it too once in a while. He'll type random shit into the doc as we're live. And like I think Chad put the one episode, he was like, we love Chad during like the video game releases, and I was like, it's actually delayed indefinitely. Hopefully we'll see it in 2022.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? We see you guys in the chat, so if you guys have any questions or anything, please let us know. Or if you want to add to the conversation, that's always welcome as well.
What's up, guys?
How's it going? Alright, so before we get into it, if you guys want to write into the podcast, have us read your funny anecdotes or interesting or emotionally charged video game stories, offer up ridiculous life questions like, what is the Leviathan Axe? Well, it was forged by the Huldra brothers, Sindri and Brock, who also forged Thor's hammer Mjolnir after feeling responsible for the destruction brought on by Thor as a weapon made to oppose the power of Mjolnir and inspired by the epic size of Jormungandr. Brock suggested the axe be named Leviathan. According to Sindri, when first meeting him, the blade was infused with the echoing screams of 20 frost trolls. Ooh. Give or take, it was made for and given to Laufey, who passed it on for her husband Kratos before her death. Interesting. But if you guys want to share with us what you're currently playing, we'd be thrilled to share your thoughts with the rest of the listeners. We also have our new segment, which is our Pixel to Pixel, which we make our mentions and shout-outs for everybody, those who would like us to. We also have our new series of episodes, which has been transitioned to being called the Content Creation Corner, where we do our interviews with streamers, YouTubers, podcasters, anybody within the gaming industry. And I think it was last episode we did it with OpenXR, Brent Insco, which was really awesome, getting into the nitty-gritty about AR, the technology and architecture software of AR and VR. That was really cool. So please go check out that episode. We'll be doing another content creation next week. We do them every other week. So, but yeah, we just try to get in touch with, like-minded people and kind of interview them, talk about what they do, why they do it, what keeps them going. So let's see. I always also like to mention our gaming resource network community called New Game Plus Network. This is me and a couple other like-minded individuals kind of put this company together so we can get like-minded people together. That's also kind of hand in hand with the Content Creation Corner. It's basically, we have our Discord, we have our email, so we're trying to bring people together if they want to collaborate and do projects with other people, or if they want to just come and meet us and hang out with us, play games with us, whatever, you name it. We know that it's pretty difficult to start a passion project like a podcast or any sort of channel or art business or anything like that. So if you guys need advice or anything, like, it's a good resource network to come to and do all that kind of stuff. What are you guys doing in the chat? You guys messing about?
Random squeaky toy.
Oh my god. You guys are crazy. Kitty, there's just a random squeaky toy behind them. Leave the random squeaky toy alone. That gnome has been bad.
It's a 3D prop, okay?
Yeah, it's actually...
specifically placed for the show.
Yeah, strategically placed.
Yeah. Specifically and strategically placed.
Oh my god. Hey, what's up, Drew? Yo, mama. Wow. Nice. What's up, guys? All right. So yeah, please hit up New Game Plus Network on our Instagram. We got the Discord. You can get an invite there. New Game Plus Network at gmail.com. And we will make our mentions in just a short bit. We also got the merch, like the Digital Denizens t-shirts. You can find those on storefrontier/JYAchannel.com, and we have all of our members of New Game Plus Network and our merch and stuff on there. So please check that out. And we also got our new series, Next Gen, where we bring on a teen gamer, talk about the games that they're playing, because I think it's cool to reach our audience in different forms and ages and things like that. Yeah, so like that is really cool. We got a lot of feedback on that, which is awesome. Speaking of feedback, if you want to give feedback, you can find me on Facebook at Digital Denizens, Instagram at Digital_Denizens. Any of the feedback helps us to improve the show. If you're watching the video versions, you can see got my links down below and Brad's name right there.
Where is it? Here? There? I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's somewhere. So let's get through our pixel to pixel mentions. Again, reaching out to streamers, podcasters, YouTubers, anybody within the gaming industry, looking to help get people recognized through all of this, connect them with others if they're looking to get started with their own channel and whatnot. So some of these people have been on the podcast. Some of them may be on the podcast in the future. So yeah, let's see. Who do we got here? What do we got? I would like to make a mention of Chris. So we got Chad Paquin and Chris Rocco, and they are part of Fanboy and the Snob. They basically do a bunch of different things within Fanboy and the Snob. It's like they cover like movies, comic books, some video games and things like that, but they do the Great Nerd Debate where we kind of have people. Holy shit! Killer cat. Yeah, killer cat. People go head to head and kind of debate different topics and stuff like that. They'll watch movies and then kind of pull them apart and talk about them. So those guys are awesome. You can find them. Chad is also part of the New Game Plus Network. You can find them on Instagram at Fanboy and the Snob, and I believe they also have Facebook and on YouTube, which is pretty cool. So please go check them out. We got Devoted Saint Retro. He's also part of New Game Plus Network. Makes gaming art with woodworking and CNC machines. So he makes video game controller stands with LEDs. He makes the different cart stands for like all the old school cartridges and everything. Even like the Game Boy stand for the OG Game Boy and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Different like gaming logos or whatever. I mean, you could pitch something custom to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to make that as well. So, and he does some streaming on Twitch. It's kind of different from time to time, whenever he gets some free time. But you can find his shop on Instagram at Devoted Saint Retro, and his shop link is there. You can also go to his website, devotedsaintretro.com, and twitch.tv/devotedsaintretro. We got Leslie Morales, Sector 7 Item Shop. She's also part of New Game Plus Network. She creates gaming-related merch and art, and you can find her shop over in the Sector 7 slums, around the corner, hang a left and just a dash up the stairs. Just kidding, but not really. But I am. But I'm not. You can find her on Instagram at Sector 7 Item Shop. She's got some really awesome stuff, so please go check her out. And I think you can find her shop link she's got a link tree in the bio. What do we got? What's up, AJ? Thank you for joining, man. We got Josiah DeAndrea, Vile Shrew. He's also a Twitch streamer, YouTube content creator. He's been on the show and most likely will show up from time to time. You can find him over on twitch.tv/vileshrew and youtube.com/vileshrew. And he does a good variety of games, anywhere ranging from like Fall Guys to Valorant, I think Call of Duty, Outriders, CSGO, all that kind of stuff. He does a good range, so you can always check out some fun things. Oh, he also does a bar stream too, where he does cool like mixology stuff like that, which is also cool. Yeah. And I think he just recently started doing like a cooking stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah, doing like different like recipes and
That's
stuff
pretty
like
cool.
that. Yeah, so he's got like some really unique stuff.
Versatile.
Yeah, very versatile for sure. What do we got? We got AJ Volpe, All for Gamers, and A4GZ. That's my man. He's also part of New Game Plus Network. He's also got a shop through Instagram where he sells gaming merch, tiny arcades. He's also recently started streaming on Twitch, Stardew Valley, and I think he's doing, and he's also doing Uncharted 2, which I think he's about finished doing and probably will continue on to do, I think Uncharted 3 from what I understand. So please go check out his shop. He's got some really cool stuff there. Instagram at All for Gamers. His website is allforgamers.com. You can find him on Facebook at All for Gamers, twitch.tv/A4GZ, and youtube.com/allforgamers. We got some more streamers here. Andre Vanger, Fingers421. He's a Twitch streamer as well. Hopefully I'll keep you guys in the know. Yes, please let us know, AJ. Let us know what's going on, man. He mostly is a Twitch streamer of Valorant. You can find him in Instagram at Fingers421 and twitch.tv/Fingers421. Deadly Anime Squad. He's been actually a really good pusher for like New Game Plus and a lot of us streamers and stuff. He does a lot of streaming all the time, but he also has been like shouting out a lot of streamers and helping get the word out for like me and AJ and some of the people that we know, which is awesome. So he does Twitch streaming of, I think recently he's been doing like Borderlands 3, Days Gone, Outriders, Ghost of Tsushima, and then I think MLB The Show 19. You can find him on twitch.tv/Deadly Anime Squad and Instagram at Deadly Anime Squad 1. We got Andrew Trotsky, Twitch streamer playing Pokemon, Sea of Thieves, Super Mario 64, and Dark Souls 3. You can find him on Instagram at AndrewTRO and twitch.tv/A Trotsky. So, Andrew smells. Oh, come on. Maybe a little bit, but not that bad, right? It can't be that bad. Is it that bad? We got Alec Martel, host of Rapid Chatter podcast. He does discussion and interviews covering a wide variety of topics, ranging from entertainment to personal experiences. Very awesome dude. I've talked to him personally myself, and we probably will be doing, I think he's coming on the next Content Creation Corner for an interview. Don't quote me. We're still working out the details. And then I'll probably end up showing up on his show pretty soon. You can find him on Instagram at Ghoul for Coffee, Instagram at Rapid Chatter, and anchor.fm/Rapid Chatter. So yes, please go check him out. We got another podcast, Dan and Nick from WT Famicom, gaming podcast for people who hate gaming podcasts. They're a bunch of cool dudes too. Yeah, they're in like our Discord and everything, posting stuff every once in a while. So you can find them on Instagram at WT Famicom and they got a link tree in their bio for all of their links and stuff. We got Haley Depew. I don't know who this lady is, but I mean, she's pretty nice, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I've only heard things really, through the grapevine.
Yeah.
But
reverberations
and whatnot. So she's a Twitch streamer playing The Sims 4. Pretty awesome. I think it's a really lively stream. You guys should please go check it out. Instagram at Halizzle_D. Twitch.tv/shutthehellupsteven. Guess what? Guess who her first follower was? Her brother Steven. It just happened to work out that way. That's awesome. We got Emma Depew, Twitch streamer, playing Stardew Valley. She's pretty awesome. I think you'd probably go checking her out. She might be streaming some other stuff too, but I think for right now it's mostly Stardew Valley. I've heard things about her too. She's kind of weird, but in a good way. Instagram at emma.rose.13, and you can find her on twitch.tv/edepew. And then we got the smelliest for last, Tyler Depew. Instagram at Deputyl, DEPEWTYL, twitch.tv/TWDEPEW. So yeah, please go check everybody out. If you guys have some time to, that'd be awesome. I just started doing the mentions in the beginning because I figured, why make everybody watch the entire episode and torture them that way? We'll just put it in the beginning. So if they do want to watch the episode, then they can do it on their own volition and not me forcing them to. So here's to that. Cheers, guys. So, what do you say? Should we dive right into it? Dive.
Mm-hmm.
Video games?
No, I don't like video games.
Video games.
I was thinking...
No?
Board games?
Board games? Video games? No?
No.
Alright. I guess we're going to go play some board games. We're going to go play some fucking Monopoly and Parcheesi, guys. A little bit of sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. Classic.
Chutes and ladders.
Candyland.
What?
Yeah. No, wait. 13 Dead End Drive.
13 Dead End Drive. That's where it's at, man.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
That or Battle Masters. I
Oh my
always
God.
like that game.
That shit was awesome. Alright, well, let's get into the games we're playing. What are you buying? What are you playing? So what have you been playing, Brad?
Man. So I've been playing Bloodborne. So, yeah, I probably put about, I don't know, I'd probably have to venture 30, maybe 40 hours into the game so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I've beaten all the Dark Souls games,
Nice.
as you know.
So would you say, consider yourself a masochist? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, put it this way, I think...
So that's a yes.
That's the politician's response. They just don't answer the question.
Just kind of beat around the bush a little bit.
Put it this way. So, I don't know. Was it last year? Well, last year I would say I didn't play a Dark Souls or a From Software game because there wasn't one. It was Sekiro the year before, which was my game of the year. So I couldn't play a From Software game last year. Although they did do the Dark Souls remake, which I can't remember if that was released last year or the end of 2019. I can't remember. But anyway, I didn't play it.
Okay.
Dark Souls, as you know, I love Dark Souls. The first game is still my favorite out of the series. But anyway, Final Fantasy VII, in my opinion, was at times on the level of frustration.
I would agree.
So I feel like I exercised that muscle in my body, with Final Fantasy VII.
That's true. Yeah.
And because I beat the game, I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake on hard, and I did defeat, all the summon, the extra VR combat missions where you have to fight all the summons in a row. You gotta defeat, Shiva and.
Oh yeah. You played that shit on hard though too.
Yeah, I beat the game on hard, and that's when I got to the Shinra building. Is when I did the VR.
I like gaming,
So.
but I don't like to put myself through that much torture.
It was like 3 weeks of like just grinding and leveling my materia
Yeah.
just to get to a point where I was like, okay, I can confidently like defeat not Bahamut, who was the other one?
Oh, was it Leviathan?
Well, you got to beat Leviathan, but after Leviathan, then you fight
I thought Bahamut was the last summon.
no, he summons Bahamut.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever his name is. I can't recall right now.
Yeah.
He's the one that like floats around.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember what that
Anyway,
is.
it has nothing to do with what I've been playing. So I was just kind of relating the fact that, yeah, I feel like I'm a glutton for punishment. Yes. That was my long way of answering what
Oh
you
my
had
God.
asked. So Bloodborne, yeah, I'm surprisingly, I never, I had played it like at one point when it first came out, or around that time, I think, because I bought it then. But I just like, I don't know what happened. Like I just didn't play it all the way through. I got a little ways in, but so this time finally going back, 6 years after it came out.
To Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Has it been 6 years?
Well,
really?
2015 was when it came out.
Wow.
I don't know what point in 2015. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I
yeah.
think part of me was like holding out the fact that like I was really hoping that like Sony would like release the reins a little bit and like finally bring Bloodborne to
PC.
either PC or like do a next gen like remake or something.
Yeah, I
like,
know. People have
you
been
know,
kind of asking for that for a while
for
now.
a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
And like for good reason, because it's like it's a great game, but it's definitely held back by like the technology of the at the time of the PS4. I mean, it definitely suffers from like frame rate issues in points in the game where it's like, I don't know, like it could
Yeah.
really like do for like an update
And you're playing on just
something.
like the standard PS4,
on the PS4,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how
not
it
the Pro.
behaves on like the PS4 Pro. I haven't played it on there or anything,
Yeah,
but
we'll have to try that while you're here. I'm
yeah, I
curious
did
to
bring
see.
it so we can pop it in or whatever. But
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of interested to see what that does. But
Mhm.
yeah, totally been enjoying that game a lot. Yeah, I just it's a Souls game. I mean, through and through. You can't. There's no
Yeah.
beating around the bush. Like, the way that people describe the game, I was thinking I was like walking into something that was maybe like
Totally
a little different. Like
Yeah.
I was expecting, like when people said fast paced, I was expecting maybe something of the order like Sekiro, which was like very fast paced and like
Yeah, that's
a
true.
lot of verticality in that game. This
Mhm.
game doesn't have that. It's like very like Souls based.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense where, I don't know. I guess like I don't see it. Like I don't see people seem to distinguish Bloodborne and the Souls games, and I don't really see the distinction, like aside from like maybe like the worlds that they exist in
Yeah.
themselves, like there's a distinction there, but like in terms of like gameplay, like just on its face,
Yeah.
they're very similar to me. I don't really see like a huge distinction and
Okay.
why people gravitate toward one or the other. Like if you like From Software games, you would love Souls games as much as you would love Bloodborne, as much as you would love Sekiro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is there like I know like Sekiro and like so Sekiro and Dark Souls and things are
Yeah.
very similar,
Mhm.
but yet you only play as one character in Sekiro and you have like all these different weapon varieties
Yeah.
and things. Whereas like Dark Souls, you kind of choose how you want to build your character a little bit more and your playthrough style and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I would say like in terms of like versatility,
Mm-hmm.
it seems more like maybe Dark Souls is more versatile in that way because there's all
Yeah.
these different like player classes or character classes that you can play. So like you could literally play Dark Souls like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different times and like
have a different outcome every time or a different playthrough.
just a different feel or play style, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
Sekiro was like very like Sekiro knew exactly what it was. It didn't like pull any punches, and it was like
Mhm.
proud of that fact. It just like plowed through. That's still like hands down, I would have to say, probably second favorite game from FromSoft
Mhm.
after Dark Souls would be Sekiro.
Yeah.
Like I love the other Dark Souls games. Don't get me wrong, but Sekiro just you could see the evolution. You know, From Software was like, okay, we get it, guys. You really like our games. We're glad you like our games, but like, we need to like change up the formula because it's getting a little old for us. You know, you could tell that was happening, and like, they just freaking nailed it with Sekiro. So anyway, going back to Bloodborne though, yeah, it's just Bloodborne. You can create your own character. For those who haven't played it, you can create your own character. You can customize like the appearance of your character and all that good stuff. And it doesn't make a lick of a difference with your play at all. It's more for just like, and the other thing too is like you literally like never look at your character in the game. So like it literally matters like zero. Like you spend all this time like designing your character, like, you know. Like a game like Skyrim, you spend all your time designing the character.
Like the way they look.
The way they look, and it's like, you know, you're a role-playing game. Mm. This is not a role-playing game. So, like, I don't know why they took the time to create this, like, character customization thing.
Now, is it because of, like, the clothes and armor, like, mostly cover up, like, how you look anyway?
It's a third-person game.
Right.
Which, you know, maybe you'd get at some point you'll see your character or something, but... it's like all the armor and the costuming and all that stuff, you never see your character's face. All you really see is his eyes. So it's like if you're gonna play Bloodborne,
just customize
the eye color. Just be done with it. Like, I don't understand the customization there. But anyway, it's a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. I'm probably maybe like a third of the way through the game or something.
Yeah.
But there's like so much, like all other FromSoft games, there's just so much involved in that game. A lot of secrets, you know.
And that's pretty similar to a lot of the other From Software games. You know, they always have sort of like Easter eggs and hidden stuff kind of stashed around throughout the game.
You know, you'll get in like certain areas which, you know, some are small, others are like labyrinthian, you know, where it's like elevators that go up and down, then shortcuts that loop back around, and and you know, maybe specific like events occur only if like you're at the right place at the right time, sort of thing.
Right.
Like, that was somewhat they introduced with Dark Souls, you know, and Demon Souls, I suppose, too, which is the precursor. But anyway, and then it's like there are like so you can create your own character, but ultimately play the same character in the game, so to speak, like a nameless guy that just is going through Yharnam.
Is that the world in Bloodborne?
Defeating like you're like, it's like the Night of the Hunt or something, and so like, you know, you're trying to figure out, like, as all FromSoft games, there's just like air of like mysteriousness about. The one thing I will say that does make Bloodborne stand out is that From Software took a lot of liberty in borrowing themes and artistic styling and all that stuff from what do you call it? Who's the horror?
Like Cthulhu?
Cthulhu, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's what I kind of got, the vibe that I got from it a lot,
it's very Cthulhu-esque. Mm-hmm. So, Lovecraft, I was trying to think of the
H.P.
author.
Lovecraft.
Yeah. So, very Lovecraftian, very, very much in that vein, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm kind of curious, because I've like watched like gameplay here and there, but not a whole lot. Would you say it's kind of more along the lines of Sekiro, how they have more of like a story built into it? Because Sekiro did a really good job of like kind of breaking off from like their traditional Souls games and actually having like a unique story to tell within the game.
So there is something there. It's like given to the player in like small snippets here and there. Mm-hmm. A lot of what From Software like tends to do is their mystery is given through like world context, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like obvious things. It's just like I don't know how to describe it better. Like, it's just the way that you like see the world is sort of like how the story is told in a sense.
Like the environments.
Yeah. Like there's a
see,
little
like,
bit.
You see like people like dead on the ground like after a battle or something like that. And you kind
Just
of,
stuff like that. Like it's contextually like told.
Subtle nuances and things.
The one thing I will say was that I really love about From Software games is that they have this like design designed down or developed down to like a science, and it's like getting the player to constantly make decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for instance, like you'll be traveling down this road, right?
Yeah.
And just for the sake of the example, it splits off in two ways, right? And so you start going down this way, and then up ahead you see like some new enemy that looks really intimidating. And so you're like, do I keep going? I've got like 10,000 blood echoes right now, which are like
the souls equivalent.
Equivalent, yeah. So like, do I want to die and potentially lose that? Like there's always this risk reward system, right?
Yeah.
But what they've like nailed down perfectly is making the player sort of in a way like make a rationale like coin toss, right?
Yeah.
In the sense that like, so you go down that road, you see this enemy, you're like intimidated by the enemy. I don't know if I want to risk that. So you turn back, you say go down the other path. Well, that path doesn't look much better. In fact, it looks maybe just as bad, if not maybe a little worse.
Oh my god.
So the rationale then is like, oh, okay, I don't really want to go down there right now, so I'm going to go back and I'm just going to face this guy and deal with it, right?
Yeah.
That's like the literal like design of that game. That happens constantly in that game. Like you're constantly like
just having to
balancing
juggle
your rationale and juggling like, you know, okay, I know this one's bad and this one's bad, but which one's worse?
Yeah. What's the better of the two?
Yeah, and then sometimes you're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go, and you run in and you die, you know, and it's like you find a boss battle, you walked right in, and it's like, oh shit, well, he just killed me in like one hit. Like,
you're like, now my question is, was the other option actually better?
Yeah, I know, right. And you know, the other thing is like, there's a lot of optional bosses in Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool, because I feel like, you know, they're using that risk reward system, you know, saying like, yeah, you don't have to fight this boss, but if you're up for the challenge, which if you're playing a Souls game or a Bourne game or Sekiro, I'd say you're pretty much like, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
You know, even if it's your first game that you're playing from them.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
You're gonna have an idea of like the difficulty that you're facing, right? So
yeah.
I
never played any of the Souls games, but I did play
Sekiro, right?
I did play Sekiro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a good portion. I got like at least like probably a good 40 or 50 hours into it, but yeah, shit's hard. But I did play Demon Souls back in the day on PS3, but
that was hard.
I didn't get very hard into that.
Yeah, Demon Souls was very difficult.
Yeah. I know. I remember like some of my coworkers at the time, and one of my bosses was like, he's like, "Oh yeah, I love that game." I was like, "It's so punishing." He's like, "Yeah, I know, I love it." And I'm like, "Something wrong with you, man." You're right.
Yeah. I do really want to play the Demon Souls remake on the PS5.
I think that would be a good option.
You
Yeah,
actually get your hands on the PS5. But...
from what I've heard, that was done by Bluepoint Games.
Yes.
Which they did like Ico Shadow of the Colossus. They did the Uncharted series, the HD collection, among like many other games that they've done remasters and whatnot.
Yep.
And I've heard a lot of good things about Demon Souls on PS5. Like even just like the combat alone looks like, I'm sure it's slightly easier in terms of like the grand scheme of being easy. I wouldn't say that's. I think it still follows that algorithm of a Souls game, but it does look like much more intuitive and like smoother like gameplay. Like the rolls and like rolling and dodging and parrying and stuff definitely looks a little more like intuitive and fluid.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying like beginning when I started talking about Bloodborne, like I really was holding out hope for many years now that like I had every intention of playing Bloodborne at some point, but it more got to the point of like, yeah, like I wish that they would release it for PC. I want to play it on PC.
Yeah.
Like I want to play it without any frame rate limitations. You know, I want to be able to play it in 1080, 4K, whatever. You know.
Right.
I wanted to basically get what they did with Dark Souls Remake. That's what I was hoping for, and that's what I was holding out hope for. And I don't know. I guess it was at the point where I was just like, you know, like there's plenty to play. It's just like I was just kind of fiending for like a little bit of punishment, I guess.
I see that.
And I'm like, you know, I've been like literally like wanting to play Bloodborne for like many years now, but like it finally got to a point where I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna play.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yep.
So
that's awesome.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's really what I've been playing. Also, Persona 5.
How are you liking that?
So it's a cool game. I haven't gotten that far, and I'm probably like maybe like 10 or 12 hours or something, maybe a little more. I am enjoying it. It's definitely a difficult game at times. Like the combat can be difficult in points, but it's got an interesting premise and concept, and I mean that the Persona games are beloved.
I've heard a lot of people talk about them, how much they love them. It's very like Japanese,
Japanese
JRPG style.
So it's like, it really like since Final Fantasy VII, you know, I'm always kind of like every once in a while fiending to get like into a Japanese RPG.
Yeah.
Because it's like I just like the world that like it allows you to settle into. Like there's something about Japanese approach to game development and like the themes and just like the art style and the music and like the character design and the stories and things like that you just don't find in American games.
It's very true. Yeah.
So,
it's a totally different style and approach that they use within Japanese RPGs.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to get into. I started playing that. So
yeah, and I mean, like, you know, a lot of people. There's like some people that, you know, didn't really like the Final Fantasy VII remake. They're like, it's too anime and blah blah blah. Like, it's a Japanese game. I mean, it's been that for forever. You know, I mean, like, you can't. I mean, I guess you just don't like JRPGs then if you don't like Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. My criticism. I loved the remake. I think it really took things to another level. It delivered on like on many different levels, but then it also like elevated the game to a point where everybody is now clamoring for the next one and wondering like where they're going to go next with the game. Like, is it going to go follow the same story where Arius, you know, dies later, or is it going to be something different, like an alternate universe? That's where it seems it's going. Yeah, and like I said, my criticism with Final Fantasy VII Remake was with some of that over the top like anime stuff, like like
with the motorcycle in the lobby, where he like gets this close to the guy's face with the wheel.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, like. I really loved, I guess, the way that the original Final Fantasy VII played out, and I was like really hoping they would continue with that same tone of the game, but they didn't. Yeah. They like turned it into something brighter and different, like in a sense.
It didn't have because there was a lot of points in the original game that were kind of darker.
Yeah, like the whole tone. Like, you know, Sephiroth and you don't encounter Sephiroth, I think, but you find the president murdered. Spoiler, the president's murdered. Yeah. President of Shinra. Murdered by Sephiroth. Obviously, this is like going on a different path. Yeah. And that's part of it, but definitely was like not as dark a tone.
Yeah, the original. It was definitely a little. It was more weirder.
And then also like the blood you know, in the original game, you're like following Sephiroth's blood trails like through the Shinra building, upper levels of the Shinra building.
Yep.
And that's when you find the president like stabbed in the back with his katana.
Yeah.
At the desk or whatever, and it's like, so, yeah, it's a little different. So anyway, yeah, and then like there was the introduction of that one character. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh.
Who was on the motorcycle? He's in the additional motorcycle scene when you ride with Jesse and them to the surface to go.
Yeah, because he wasn't in the original game.
Right.
He's like, try not to die.
Yeah, it's like way like over the. I don't know. Personally, I didn't care for him. I'm just like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they sort of like got ahead of themselves in a sense because like they introduce him.
But then he's not in it ever again.
Yeah, it's like you have like you do the motorcycle like scene with him, and then you like confront him later, and you have to like battle against him like in the Shinra yard, like in that one facility's yard. Mm-hmm. And then he's gone, and like you never see him again in the rest of the game, and it's like very like off-putting. You're like, what was that like?
Yeah, because I thought he was a cool character. I was like, I kind of hope I see him again, but then you don't, you know.
Right.
So that was a little disappointing. But
I think he'll probably be in the next game.
Probably,
obviously.
Maybe he's more of a major character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, that is really cool.
What have you been playing though?
I've mostly been playing God of War, the newer ones.
Such a good game.
Yeah, I'm so. I think I talked about it on the last episode or something, and so I started playing it when it first came out, but I think it was like around the same time that Red Dead 2 came out. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been the same year. Wait,
was it?
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Either that or it was like another game that came out and I was playing something else, and you know, I'm terrible about staying on top of games sometimes. So I kind of fell off of it, and it's like I played all the other God of War games back in the day, like on PS2, PlayStation 3 for God of War 3. But going back to it now, like I actually have the time to put into it, and I'm loving every part of it. Like
it's a great game.
It really is. Yeah,
such a good game.
It's just like this.
So many levels.
The story. I was kind of talking about it on the last episode. It reminds me of like The Last of Us in a God of War game. You know, like You know, I know like me and Chris were kind of talking about it a little bit on the last episode, and he said he liked it more than The Last of Us. But I guess more of what I meant is just like that cinematic, like attention to detail. Mm-hmm. Like every little thing is just like this nuanced sort of cinematic, whether it's in like, and it's all in game though, you know, like
it's an incredible
transitioning from the combat to like a cutscene and then back to you playing as the character again. It's all seamless, and like they did that a little bit. They did that a lot with like Uncharted 4 as well, because there were so many times like playing Uncharted 4, I'd be like in the midst of like a cinematic, and then it would just be like I would be like standing there, and there's this vast vista in the background. I'm like, oh, that's gorgeous. And then I would forget that I'm like, actually, it's me playing now.
Yeah.
You know, like it just transitions without you even knowing it.
Right.
Which is just like, that's an achievement in itself. But I just, you know, I love like the world building and stuff like they've done within
all
God
the
of
lore.
War. Yeah, all of the lore and stuff. Like, they didn't have a lot of that stuff in the original God of War game, so I think that was a really cool addition to it.
Yeah.
You know, where, like, Atreus, you'll be like, boy, go check this out. You know, and he'll, like, read it or whatever, and then you get that added to the lore book or whatever, and then you you can open it up and read into it a little bit more and understand, like, you know, like, Midgard and, like, all of the lore in there, which, like, is cool, like, talking about, like, how Kratos left and went to this other realm, this other world, because, you know, obviously he killed all of the gods.
Yep.
You know, in the other realm, what was that, the Greek mythology realm, basically.
I didn't play all the older games. Like, I played the first game. Mm-hmm. I think I played a little of the second game.
Yeah.
On the PS2. Mm-hmm. And I never played the third game.
The third one is definitely the best, I think.
Really?
Yeah. The best out of those three.
I mean, I remember and
I think it's mostly because it's like I think it's like the culmination of like what leads him into the next game, which is the newest one. you know, you see him basically slaughter all of the fucking gods. Even, what's his name? Zeus. Yeah. Like, he basically, like, climbs all the way to the top. And,
Mount Olympus or whatever.
Yeah, Mount Olympus. And, like, the beginning cutscene in that game is, like, fucking wild. Because you see him, he's, like, on the back of the Titans, like, climbing up to Mount Olympus. And, like, you end up fighting Poseidon. And Poseidon's, like, in his water form, like, the giant.
Yeah.
And he's got these huge-ass, like, snake, like, these water snakes with, like, horse heads on them or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're, like, attacking you. And you basically, like, slam Poseidon out of his, like, water form back onto the ground, and then he ends up like putting his thumbs through Poseidon's eyeballs, like in first, like you see from the perspective of Poseidon as Kratos like grabs his face, pushes his eyeballs in, and then fucking snaps his neck, and he just like leaves his body there.
That's cool.
And it's over the top brutal, but it's so good.
Yeah.
You know, but then he climbs up to Mount Olympus, and then Zeus basically like kicks him back down to Hades.
Shit.
And you have to start from like ground zero basically with nothing, you know, except for like your weapons basically. You know, and so you got to work your way up and kill all the other gods and get your abilities back and everything. So it's like a cool way to do it. But I think it's cool to see where he comes from all of that and then goes into leaving that realm into Midgard, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to start a new family with, I think, what was it, Faye was his wife?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been a while since I played it.
Yeah. And then he ends up having a son, Atreus, with her.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. Like, I love the dynamic between Kratos and Atreus, because in the beginning you can tell he's very strict and harsh with him. Mm-hmm. You know, like, because because I think Atreus has been sick for a while, and they kind of talk about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. He's like, but I'm ready, you know, like, I haven't been sick in a while. But he's very protective over him and very strict with him, and he's like, you're not ready, boy, you know, for this, like, journey, you know, like, we can't turn back once we begin. And then, of course, you know, they get the knock on the door from Balder, which is, like, he's the Aesir.
Yeah.
Which is, I can't remember if he's like one of the sons of Thor or something. No, there's the other two guys that are sons of Thor, and I can't remember their names, but
yeah, it's been a while since I played it.
Baldur's basically like a demigod, but he can't feel pain. Nothing can hurt him, basically, and you end up fighting him, and then you have to like go on the journey to spread his wife's ashes up on the mountain. But it kind of like opens up into this like really large journey in itself.
Epic journey.
Yeah. And it's just so cool, like all of the dynamic stuff that happens within the game, like gaining Mimir's head added to your belt, like is like one of the funniest fucking things in the game, because he's always like commenting, and he's just like, I didn't ask you for your opinion. Yeah. You know? He's just like, fine.
And it's just got like, for a game that is so brutal, and so like tense at times.
Yeah.
For all those moments, the thing I loved most about that game is that it could immediately become serene.
Yeah.
You know, there were these quiet moments in the game that are carefully constructed in the design, such as like when you're on like the boat, like on one of the canoes or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And you're floating around, you know, and Mimir is like basically like
telling his story.
Telling a story about, because what's his name? His son,
Atreus.
Yeah, he asks
Atreus, yeah.
He asks him, "Hey, you know, whatever happened with this?" Or like, so there's this really cool, just like, man, like, and it's like a dialogue that just takes place so naturally.
Oh,
that
yeah.
It almost makes you feel as if you're not playing a game. Like, that is, like, the brilliance of, like, of the design of that game. So I think they, like, really nailed that so well. It was just so well done. And I just remember, you know, I like, you know, rafted around there the different areas because I was like trying to get all the secrets when I first
Yeah,
played it.
I've been doing a lot of that too.
And I don't think I ever heard like one conversation that was repeated.
No.
Like it was like unbelievable the amount of like stories that were written.
Well, I think the way that they recorded it in such a way that like if you were to cut it off, it like cuts it off at a certain point.
It would pick it back up.
But then it would pick it back up where like Atreus is like, hey, yeah, do you want to continue that story again? And then he'll kind of pick up where he left off and continue on. Like that was really brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And I would say like that's what reminds me a lot of like The Last of Us is stuff
Makes
like
it feel
that.
very natural.
It does, yeah. Like, and I think they did it a lot more. They did it in both The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But like Joel and Ellie or something will be like doing something, and then they get attacked by enemies, and then they're on to some other serene moment like that.
Yeah.
Where they'll be like, hey, you want to continue talking about that again?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll continue their conversation naturally like that.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it's just like, it's, moments like in The Last of Us, you have like this like gorgeous vistas and everything that you're watching along the way. And then you have these brutal ass moments, and then you have like another serene moment. And it's just like all this character building between them, like the bonds that you see between these characters growing as the journey.
Yeah.
Is
it's
like
very much like a progression of the story, but also like a progression of the characters as you see them grow together in a sense, because that's also what I picked up in the game, is that there is this sort of like false personification of Kratos, however you say it, of his impression of who he is, right?
Yeah.
He's like this very like mighty, like, beating his chest type of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a god, but like he's done all these things, and so that's sort of like how he approaches his relationship with his son.
Yeah.
And as the game progresses, you start to see that like really like craggy facade sort of like crack and like fade away from Kratos as he starts to realize like his son is capable of just as much as he is if given the proper respect and opportunity,
Yeah.
I think that's something that is a huge theme that is like very powerful in that game. Like,
yeah.
it really. What the? What was that?
We got animals crawling through the walls.
It just really like highlights so much more. Just like beyond like the stuff on its face, like the brutality and like all the stuff that you're as a player faced with. It really like it gives the game this like depth and breadth that like you don't see in a lot of games,
Yeah.
That was something I really loved about that game.
I definitely agree with that, because like you even notice it in like you notice it progressively as you go through the game, where like the more you use Atreus in battle, like you're basically controlling how he uses his arrows.
Yeah.
And like, but then Atreus will like sometimes jump on the back of like an enemy and like knife him.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But the more you use him, he'll be like, Atreus will be like, did I do good? And he'd be like, it's sufficient. But then like later on, he's like, you're quite capable. He's like, you're improving.
Yeah.
Like he starts like giving him more compliments the more you use him and stuff like that. And like,
and I think
is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's what really builds on that theme of like him coming to respect his son and not look at him as this frail boy any longer.
Right.
He comes
just a child.
Comes to see him as like his son, somebody that he's proud of, that he can.
Yeah, because he trained him.
Yeah, he can respect, he can rely on, that kind of thing. Which, even outside of the game, for anybody that is a parent, which I'm not, but you are, is a very powerful thing, just to
feel proud and...
Yeah. I mean, I think you can, and even if you're not a parent, you can relate to it,
Yeah.
Everybody has somebody that they love, and who, occasionally you got people that you love that do stupid shit, and you're just like, why are you doing that? Like,
Right, exactly.
You know, and you just want to like smack him upside the head. You know, and it's like that's kind of what like Kratos was doing with him.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and then eventually you're like, okay, like you found your feet. You know, like you know what you're doing. You're going into a man.
Yeah.
You know, before his eyes, he was growing into a man. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's a cool theme.
It is, yeah.
That really, I think, lifted that game up from like what otherwise would have just been like another God of War.
Yeah.
Just like balls to the wall, like killing gods and like all that shit, to like something that was like an elevated experience, right?
Yeah, and it definitely felt it. Yeah, it was definitely more elevated. Had more of like a lot of more realistic tones to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it took a lot of that mythology that they had. Like they had a lot of mythology in the previous games, but it was kind of very basic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't know, maybe not basic, but I mean they did what they could with what they had available to them when they made the original games. Whereas this one, like they built it into this like living, breathing world.
Yeah, it really did feel,
you know,
like a fully fleshed out world. For sure.
Plus, like, I think in the original God of War games, you had a lot of, like, similar enemies that would always crop up.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, in God of War, like, they do have some of that, too. But then, like, just when you least expect it, they have, like, a new boss or, like, a new enemy type that they kind of throw into the mix.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some are optional, some aren't, you know?
Yeah.
That I really appreciated that. I liked that. Like I mentioned, like the Valkyrie challenges and stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Did you get to those yet? Oh man,
but
they're fun though. They are fun.
I just made it to Muspelheim, which is like the what Drew says symbology, the hero's tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like yes, it is. So it's what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's it's sort of like this lava realm that you go to, and there's like all these cool like trials that you have to do, and that's pretty much the only thing that's in this realm. There's like 6 trials. This realm was like basically watched over by a giant, but Mimir tells you he's like well, the giants won't come until Ragnarok,
right?
Which supposedly which is kind of cool. That's like another thing that's really cool. Like Mimir starts talking about how Ragnarok has already happened, but the world serpent was sent back in time. To the present.
Yeah.
To warn you that Odin is trying to stop you from getting to him. And so it kind of changed the course of history slightly.
Yeah.
With all of that kind of stuff. So the giants haven't come yet. Because Ragnarok hasn't happened yet, but it also has happened. But
a weird juxtaposition timeline.
Yeah, it's a real interesting time loop or whatever. But yeah, you go here and you have to do all these trials or whatever, and they all have sort of different different things. Like some like one trial where you have to kill all of the enemies, the whole all the waves of enemies, and if there's one enemy left, you have to do it just right. Otherwise, if there's one enemy left, it'll spawn another enemy. They keep spawning more enemies. So
I did all those challenges.
Yeah, so you gotta kill you gotta find a way to kill the last 2 enemies almost at the exact same time, or before the next one spawns.
And is that the one where they give you it's like a procedural challenge where you can only use a certain type of weapon to defeat them? You can't use a certain ability.
No, this one doesn't have anything like that, no. Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of something different then.
Well, there's Niflheim, which is the other realm that you have to find the ciphers to unlock as well.
Well, there's a lava realm that I remember where you're climbing this mountain.
And maybe
and you
that
eventually get to the top of the mountain, you will get keys that unlock, once you defeat that challenge.
They open different gates.
It unlocks the next level of this mountain, and then you have to keep going up and up and up, and it's a procedurally generated challenge.
So I think that is probably what it is, but so far
you'll have to show me later.
So far there's no stipulations on what weapons you can use or anything.
Okay. It
But
probably is something different.
I got to the third one where you have to fight. It's like one of the Dark Elf kings, and he's like super powerful. And then so you have to like he'll start attacking you, but then you have like smaller, weaker enemies that come out, and you have to kill them in order to make him vulnerable to your attacks.
Okay.
For a short period of time, but then he'll become invulnerable again.
Right.
And then the next set of enemies that he brings out are even harder.
Right.
So they're like the regular Dark Elves, and then the next one is like these higher up Dark Elves, and then after that they have like the fucking Wraiths or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like I got to the last fucking part, like there was like the Wraith, and then you know how like those really strong Dark Elves, like the kings, will like make the room black. Like it darkens the room and you can't see where they're coming from. They did that when you first go to Alfheim and you fight the Dark Elves there. There's like one of the kings that you have to fight there, and he like somehow he like makes everything dark, surrounds you in darkness, and then you have to like you'll kind of see him coming at the last second. Yeah. Like charging at you, and you have to dodge him or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've like been fighting him. I tried to take him down, but ended up failing. Like and just a little bit of health left too, and I ended up getting attacked by the Wraith in the dark, so I couldn't see what was going on. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it though. Like I love like seeing all of the stuff that you can craft, like the different armors and stuff, and I think that in itself is really cool too. Is like all of the RPG element stuff that they added. That wasn't in any of the other games. Like in the other games, it was just like, oh, you collected a new weapon, now you have like other abilities already opened up to you. Right. Or, well, you did have some sort of... In God of War 3, there was some sort of level up system where you can unlock different abilities.
I don't remember that in the first two, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was more... The first two were more basic. They were like, you get this weapon now and all these abilities are open. Yeah. And there was collectibles and things. But in the third one, actually, it was the first time that they introduced more of like collect this many of like the... Cyclop eyes, and that unlocks this ability. Okay. Or gain 3 feathers, kind of like they did in this one. Sure. You get like the 3 apples or whatever, and it increases your health. Yeah. Sort of thing. But this thing, I think, definitely takes it to the next level where you actually have like a power level. Yeah. You can increase your health. You can increase your rage bar. You can increase. You can like add different runes and stuff and different attacks to your weapon to make it powerful and add different elements to it. That's right. And then there's like all these different armors that have different buffs and stuff attached to them. So you can kind of like, it's almost like you can kind of spec your character how you want to be able to play the God of War game. Yeah. Like if you want to focus more on like, oh, I need more health, or I want more defense, or I want more runic attack. I want, you want to like kind of have some of those things a little bit more heightened. Yeah. Then there's certain armor sets that will kind of do that for you. Right.
I always loved the creepy like blacksmith guy.
Oh, was it Brock?
Yeah, Brock.
Well, there's the 2 brothers, Brock and Sindri.
Yeah, that's right. Now I remember that.
Brock is like the blue one because he turned blue from like handling steel and silver with his like bare hands. Yeah. And then Sindri's like the germaphobe one.
That's right. Yeah.
He goes to like hand him the Leviathan axe, and he's like, "Can you just set that over there?" Like he doesn't want to touch anything or get dirty. That's great. Yeah, but they're like, them 2 are just like fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like the character development in those games, or in that game in particular, was like spot on. So good.
I think so far, like my favorite part in the game was like the fight with the dragon on top of the summit.
So cool.
Just like, planning that out, and then, because the dragon was gonna kill Sindri, and then he tells Atreus to grab him, and as you get the dragon's attention, and you start like fighting it up there, and then just that final kill, where he tells Atreus to shoot the crane. And then it drops the fucking thing on the dragon's head.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then the mouth like falls directly right around Kratos on the ground.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're just like, holy shit, man. Yeah. That was like fucking awesome. Yeah.
Oh man, wait till you get to the end.
Oh, I can't.
It gets more epic. Yeah. As it goes, yeah. There's like some really epic fight scenes in the game.
Yeah. And in the beginning too, there was that fight with Baldur where you're just like, smashing each other around.
Yeah,
He's
that
like-
is a cool
He's
scene.
like beating the shit out of Baldur, and he's like, "All right, now my turn." And Baldur fucking like punches him, and he goes flying over the fucking house.
Yeah, that's
And you're
right.
like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Totally underestimated this guy.
Yeah, it makes it look like he's like smashing Baldur's like head into
Yeah.
like a pancake, and then it's like he's not even hurt.
Oh, I
Like,
know, dude. It was
It's crazy.
freaking wild.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I've mostly been playing that. The other game I've been streaming Disco Elysium, but I didn't stream last week. And then I started streaming because I had finished Half-Life Alyx on the Steam VR. So for VR Tuesday, I've been doing the Room VR, which I know you recommended.
I recommended the room. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Room VR, A Dark Matter, is really cool. I've only done one stream of it so far. I don't think it's a very long game, because I think there's like four story sections,
Okay.
or 4 sections that you go to, and each one
Yeah.
is slightly different and slightly harder and more complex.
Yep.
And like, so I think the first one you're sort of like in your office or whatever, and then the next one you go to, you're like you're in like this museum, and you're trying to open like a sarcophagus for like an Egyptian sarcophagus, and you're trying to find all these clues and stuff, and everything's like Egyptian related.
Now, is this game like the first Room game just in VR?
It might be. I don't know.
'Cause it sounds familiar what you're describing.
Like,
I played the Room 1 and 2. Like,
Did the first one have like an Egyptian sort of
I
thing?
think so. I might be wrong on that. Maybe we can look that up and
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I was kind of
Yeah.
curious about that.
It might be.
I really
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't do that. Like, it'd be easier probably
Yeah.
to make one that's based off of one of the other ones versus making a whole new one.
Yeah,
If
and I
other
really
people can't
loved the Room games. They're very Myst-esque.
Yeah.
For those
yeah.
of old enough that can remember the Myst when that was popular. Riven,
Yeah.
the kind of sequel.
And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there might be an actual Myst VR game now.
Really?
There might be,
can't remember.
because I think they did a new Myst game not long ago.
Hmm.
But either way, I mean, like, being that it's like that sort of game in VR is really cool. Just being able to like use your hands to manipulate
yeah.
the puzzles and things like that makes it really intuitive and more fun than just like clicking a mouse and whatever. Like in the last one that I did, so there was that second one with the Egyptian part, and then the third one is like you're in like a chapel or like a what do you call them, like those cathedral.
Oh, okay.
You're in like a cathedral and you're trying to find like all these clues and stuff. And so then like you get like these different lenses that like you can open up your inventory and then you can activate the lens and it shows different symbols on the wall. And it sort of like changes your vision to see hidden secrets and whatnot. And so then like you finally get the third lens in this one, and then you can activate, like, you almost like shrink yourself down and you're able to go inside of machines and things like that, sort of like Alice in Wonderland like.
That's cool.
Yeah, so then like you'll
Maybe
like
it's not a...
you'll sort of
I don't
click
remember
on
that.
it,
Yeah.
you interact with it, and then it fades in, and then you're standing in front of that little keyhole on these like jewels or whatever that are kind of floating. And then you like turn around and you see the whole room that's like massive, and you're like, "Oh fuck."
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very like Alice in Wonderland in that respect. And then you go inside of the machine and you're looking at all the different cogs and stuff like that, and trying to manipulate them. And like, so that is like seems to be the most complex one I've found, where you're like, there's so many things to uncover and figure out in this one.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. It was really cool.
I'm getting like bombarded by the dogs here.
They're like, "Hi, pet me."
They're like, Daddy.
Daddy. Oh my god.
Oh man.
So
I'm not your daddy, but okay.
but all right, yeah, man. So yeah, so I've been doing that and streaming that one on Twitch. That's pretty much it.
there hasn't been a whole lot of news going on.
No.
It's kind of been slow news wise lately.
Yeah,
games.
within the gaming industry, it's been very slow. There hasn't been a lot of interesting stuff that I've been pulling. So.
And I think a lot of publishers, developers have been holding off till E3 probably.
Probably. I mean,
that's not that far away.
2 months.
That's probably why we're not seeing much.
I would agree. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
So we
Okay.
We do have a couple news things that we might. Well, let's see. We started at 8. Oh, so we've been going for like. Oh no, we started at like 8:30, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we've been going for like an hour and 10 minutes. So I don't know. We can just do the questions and then.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm gonna do that. All right, cool. So, I pulled some of these. We did some of these questions on the last episode with the MegaCast Lite, which was a lot of fun. I think it was cool to kind of change it up a little bit. Instead of doing the news, we kind of did just talking about like our history with games and the games that we love, games that we hate, all that kind of stuff. You know, so
games that made you shit your pants.
Yes. That too. Yeah. Games that you didn't get off the couch because you wanted to beat it so bad and ended up constipated.
Well, that's not what I was thinking, but you know.
Did the Dark Souls make you do that? No. You're like, I can't go to the bathroom yet.
No.
I need
My
to beat
legs
this
did
boss.
atrophy though, because you know.
Pretty sure you told me at one point you might have fractured your thumb from playing
Sekiro. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, this thumb right here is
still never been the same.
It's gotten better.
Yeah.
But yeah, from all that parrying.
That was like 2 years ago. I just want you to know, like, that's how long that's been.
Yeah. I think that's the first game-related, like, injury that I've ever had.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what happens when you play a game like Sekiro and, you know, you start getting into your mid-30s.
Shit just starts falling apart.
Yeah, it's like...
It's never the same.
Now that's just my shitty thumb. So.
You and that shitty thumb are just gonna die together one day.
Yeah.
I know. Like I've noticed, like playing God of War, like my thumbs get sore from
that game particularly because there's like a lot of combos and stuff that you have to remember. Yeah.
But then you're also like you're doing like quick movements with the thumbsticks, trying to move and dodge out of the way and all that kind of stuff.
Intense.
It does. Yeah. So.
All right. So this is what do we got first?
So the first one is what was the first console that you ever owned?
Well, Mom and Dad had an Atari 2600.
Yeah. Oh,
when we were growing up. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say that was the first console that I ever owned. That was theirs. Mm-hmm. We played it, of course. You know.
That's right. Yes, it was theirs. Forgot about that.
But then the first console that I think Dad... I think, like... I don't remember him ever saying anything. Like...
The Sega Master System?
He went to work and then, like, came home one night with, like, a Sega Master System. And it was, like... the greatest night of, like, one of the greatest nights of my life, like, because it was just, like, so unexpected, and, like, at the time, like, you know, Dad enjoyed watching us play, and he would play with us, too, you know, we enjoyed playing board games and things with him, too, but, it was just, like, such a magical experience, you know, with the Master System, because it had, you know, it also had, like, for those old enough to remember, the Master System was, you know, that came out about, I think it came out before the Nintendo, the 8-bit, the first NES came out. Yeah. Like maybe a few months before or something.
Yeah, because I remember I was really little when you guys got the Sega Master System.
Yeah.
I was probably only like, I probably wasn't even 5 at that point yet.
No, you were... I'd have to look back to remember what
year that came out. Yeah,
you were like, if you were alive at that time.
I do remember you guys having it because I remember you guys had like the light gun and stuff for it.
Right. Yeah.
And there was like that helicopter.
Thunderblade.
That's what it was. Yeah. I remember like some of those games in Alex Kidd and all that stuff.
Alex Kidd and Shinobi World.
Yeah.
Double Dragon, Ghostbusters, Outrun.
And that was like a massive upgrade coming from the Atari 2600.
Oh
too,
my god,
though.
yeah.
You know, like
It was like night and day. It was like life changing.
yeah.
And then it had these glasses that it came with.
Oh yeah.
The 3D glasses, and it had this. It had like a cart that would slide into the front of the console, and then and then the glasses would connect like with an 1/8" jack or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a 3D missile.
I remember
command
that
game, and the missiles would like shoot up, and they would like come at you, and you'd have to like shoot them with
the gun,
with
the light gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was basically like the duck
hunt
game for Nintendo, but it was like missiles.
Sega's version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, such great memories. Rampage.
Oh, the original Rampage.
I still have all of our
Sega Master System.
all the games. Every one of the games I
wonder
have.
if we still have the console though.
We do have it somewhere. I don't know if it works anymore, but
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that was the first console that we ever owned, I would say.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember I think the first console that I owned, was probably the N64. Like that was like, well, I mean, we got it together, but it was like the first one that I had a say in which one we got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you and Drew, I think, got the PlayStation 1.
We got the Sega Saturn.
And yeah, you guys had the Sega Saturn first.
And then about a year later, we got the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Mm-hmm. Man, good times. So, what's been your favorite console?
Man, that's a hard one. I would probably say the Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis,
and the PlayStation are like kind of like neck and neck for me.
Yeah.
Like the first PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like we were just like such impressionable kids at the time.
Yeah.
That there's just so many like amazing like memories and stuff that go along with those things that perceived or not, like they were my favorites, you know.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's true. I think last time I said on the last episode I was saying I think the original Xbox. And I think it's because they had like, you know, I think it was after GameCube, or was that at the same time?
Same console generation.
Same console generation, yeah. Like I love the PlayStation 2, but I think, you know, like the original Xbox had the first Halo games, had like Gears of War.
Yep.
You know, and had
some pretty groundbreaking new franchise.
Yeah, that like we didn't have anything like that prior.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Halo changed the entire first-person shooter.
Right.
Experience.
Mm-hmm.
From that point forward, it was like things had to be developed on a different level. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Regardless if you love Halo or not, I think you have to admit that like literally changed the landscape of first-person shooters.
I totally agree with that. The other thing I think was interesting was that there was a lot of games that were on PC at that time that started coming to Xbox. Like they had Morrowind, they had Fallout 3, which was really cool. Like just a lot of those games that like people didn't have a PC to play on, were finally able to do that on a console.
Yeah, that's true. I think graphically, I think it definitely bridged the gap a little bit between those two because. Yeah, I mean, the reality is that, like, you know, in the beginning, you had, like, arcade games that were always superior because they were specifically designed to play that game.
And they were just good at it.
And they were just really good, and that's why graphically, like, everything was so much better in the arcade. That's why arcade games, you know, it seems strange saying this, but, like, if you were old enough to remember going to, like, Chuck E. Cheese and playing arcade games, like, you would know what I'm talking about, and it's like, they were always like superior, you know. You're always like, why can't I play this game on the Genesis, or like, why doesn't it look this good on the Genesis? And it's like because it had custom hardware that could push the boundaries a little bit more. Yeah. But I think it's like the same what you're saying, where like finally with Xbox and PlayStation 2 coming about, it was like hardware and graphical fidelity were like catching up to like what was available on the PC at the time. Right. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, and then, you know, of course, PC moves on and eclipses it as always, you know.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Yeah, so I would say that was probably my favorite console. What's your favorite game from your childhood?
Man, that's a hard question.
I know.
That's
It's been so many years.
It can't. I mean, this is probably like an easy one to say, but like, I mean, Final Fantasy VII definitely was a life-changing game for me. Like, on so many levels, it was one of the first like turn-based game. It was the first game that turned me on to turn-based games.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I had really no interest in them.
Right.
But it yeah, it was just fantastic. Man, so many games. I mean, definitely on like Sega Saturn. Like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of games. There's so many. Yeah.
Panzer
Dragoon. Clockwork Knight was cool.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh yeah.
Like
that was fun doing like 2-player. Shit,
I love the Toe Jam and Earl games.
I know. I have the newest one on Switch, which I haven't really played a whole lot of.
Really?
Yeah. I think it would be more fun doing co-op on it, though.
You'd have to play co-op with that game. That's like, it's designed for that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the most like standout games in my childhood. Oh, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah.
So Resident Evil, like the original Resident Evil game, was like the first game that I got for the PlayStation. And
True beat Toe Jam and Earl with James.
Oh, nice. One. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
But like Resident Evil for the PlayStation was like I bought that game before we even had the system because I was like so convinced that like I need this game, I need to play it. I know I don't have the console, but I'm like convinced that we're gonna get the console somehow. And I was like hoping that like just by having a game for a console that we didn't know
would like will it to be.
Mom and dad would be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like we'll get it.
Fuck it.
Yeah. We'll give it. It'll be a Christmas gift or something.
Yeah.
And it did. That's how it ended up working out. I guess.
I remember that.
We complained enough, I guess, that they were like, "Shut up, kid. There you go."
There you go. That's awesome.
So yeah, I would say Resident Evil.
Nice.
The original. Yeah.
Good pick.
Yeah.
I think I said the Prince of Persia series. I think was one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
As a kid, because I think that was like one of the first games I was actually able to like beat on my own without any help or anything.
Yeah.
And I played those games like at least each one probably like 10 times.
They were good games.
You know, because it was just so good, and like the combat was awesome.
Yeah.
Like the whole like time bending sort of element to it. You can rewind time. It was like there's no more dying. Like, oh, I fell and died, I'll just rewind it. I mean, you did have like a limit on how many times you could rewind it.
Right.
And then you would run out of the sands.
Yeah.
Like, but you get more sands by killing enemies.
That's right. Yeah.
And then if you died, you would just start at your most recent checkpoint. But that was good. Other than that, I would have to say like my second favorite game from like way back was like Sega Genesis. Kid Chameleon was awesome.
Oh man, I have that still.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
And it was just
hard game, but
very hard game. Yeah, but it was
I beat it.
So cool. Like being that you can like you go to all these different realms and you have to like collect the different like costumes, like the different masks.
Yeah, the masks. Yeah,
that would like activate a different.
Yeah, that's one of those like games
ability.
That it's baffling that like Sega never did anything further with that game.
Never did a sequel. Nothing.
Yeah, like no remake, no sequel, nothing. It was just like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it was before remakes, but even a sequel, there was nothing.
Yeah, that would be a cool game to see them like revisit. Somebody revisit. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I
don't know how,
but could do it pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's see what else we got here. We could jump ahead.
You want to?
Just for time.
Let's see.
So what was a game you thought you'd like but actually hated?
Yeah.
Now hate's maybe a strong word. For me, it's like a more recent game. For lack of poor memory, and trying to go back deeper and like remember because I know there are other games in there somewhere.
I said Dragon Age 2.
Really?
Yeah. That was the one I think you told me.
Oh yeah.
Somebody had stuck it in a mailbox without any postage.
I loved the first Dragon Age.
The first one was really good.
First one and the expansion were like phenomenal. I
not,
loved them.
Yeah.
I never played the second game because I heard so many bad things about it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
For me,
I thought I would have.
For me, it was Nier Automata or Automata, however you say it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is a game that, like, you know, I remember watching this video review, and you know, the guy was basically like, "This is one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's a masterpiece." And so I was like, "I need to get this game." I'm like hankering for like a really good Japanese like RPG. I really went into it thinking like I am gonna like adore this game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like my next obsession, like up there with like Dark Souls and stuff, you know.
Oh, nice.
And I went into it completely in that mindset and just like open-minded and like ready to like embrace this game. And man, I loved it at first and then I didn't. And then eventually I was just like, man, I don't know if it's this game or it's just the mood that I'm in, but like there's something that's not jiving right.
Yeah.
And I just like walked away from it. Like I don't know. I wanted to love that game. There are so many great elements about the game, but with all the good elements, I found that there were a bunch of negative elements that really deterred the game, like for me enjoying the game, which was like, so first off, let me just, I'll be brief too on this. Like the music in the game, the soundtrack for Nier Automata is like fucking phenomenal. It's so good. It's so Japanese.
Yeah.
But like so awesome. That's the type of like score that like I'm talking about that like brings really like a lot of like memories flooding back. I should get some water after this. But
oh, some right here.
Oh. Yeah. You're like, oh, I have water for my guests. So.
That's what it's there for. Yeah, strategically placed and specifically placed.
Exactly. But yeah, so like the music, like the art style was super weird, but like quirky and Japanese and cool. I liked like the variance of the game, like the gameplay. It was like a shoot 'em up. It was like an RPG. It was like a, I don't know, like hack and slash. Like it had like
kind of like Devil May Cry. Sort
yeah,
of,
it had like
bit.
a lot of different like elements, like action RPG elements, and then, like it would be a shoot 'em up in one section, and then so like it had a lot of cool things going for it. The story was interesting. I would say where it sort of went downhill for me was, and this might seem like a minor gripe to most people, but to me, it really did detract from my experience of the game in that, like, the game world is huge, right? So, like, you find yourself, like, doing a ton of backtracking. Like, you're constantly backtracking.
Yeah.
And there's no fast travel.
Oh, God.
And I think you do eventually unlock it, but, like, for those who don't know, like, Nier Automata, like, in order to get the full breadth of the story, like, you have to beat the game, like, 5 or 6 times.
Oh, yeah, because you get different characters each time,
yeah,
right?
you get to play a different character each time, and you get the different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the 5th or 6th time, or whatever it is, like, you have, like, the full understanding about, like, what the story is and what's happening in the world or whatever, you know? And that in and of itself is, like, extremely innovative. Like, so there are definitely, like, there are things about the game that I think do merit, like, it being called innovative and I don't know about masterpiece, like some people will call it that.
You're right.
I don't, but definitely feel like the game was hamstrung by not having like a fast travel system early on, and it wore on me like very quickly. Like I was just like,
you're like, I've been here I don't know how many times.
Yeah, it's like the game does not hold your hand. Like it's very much like, the game is very vast. There's a lot of like areas that you go through.
Like more traditional JRPG.
Yeah, and so like you'll find yourself just like wandering areas for like, where do I go next?
Yeah.
And like you do that enough times to where you're like, like, you're telling me I have to, like, go back, like, all the way to the other side of this map again? And I may not even find what I'm looking for. Like, I don't even know if what I'm looking for is over there.
Oh,
so, like, I'm
God.
just, like, searching areas to go.
Yeah.
So it was very much some of that, and that, like, kind of wore on me after a while.
I could see that, yeah.
Now, like I said, hate is a strong word. I don't hate the game.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things I appreciate, and I think were really innovative in that game.
But, yeah.
I've even, like, surprisingly considered going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, I've listened to the soundtrack since then, and I'm like, man, like...
Kind of hankering for it.
Yeah, it's like, I really like the world that they built in that game, and...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I'm kind of considering going back to it at some point, but
That'd
maybe I'll have some more patience. What about you? Oh, you said,
Dragon Age
Dragon
2.
Age 2, yeah.
Yeah. I know, I'm trying to think of, like, other games that I played that maybe I thought I would have liked more, and I didn't, but... I don't know, I'm not really finding anything coming to mind. Yeah, I just, with, like, Dragon Age 1, I really liked it a lot, because I loved, like, the Mass Effect games. Like,
Yeah.
those earlier, like, BioWare games were awesome,
Mm-hmm.
but it was, like, it felt like a totally different team had worked on Dragon Age 2.
It did, yeah.
You know, like, it was not the same experience. It was just, like, they took a lot of things away from it.
It's almost like, if you look at the development of, like, Mass Effect...
Yeah, and then they did Andromeda.
Well, I was gonna say even, like, from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2,
Yeah.
like, if you look at Dragon Age, and you look at the design of Dragon Age 2, like, they're very similar paths,
Yeah.
right? It's just that people accepted the Mass Effect, like, the more action-oriented from,
Yeah.
like, the RPG that was, like, heavy in the first game.
Right.
I think people were more apt to accept that
Mm-hmm.
because there were guns and, like, there was a
Yeah.
lot of action,
I think-
like, to begin with.
Dragon Age, I think, had a little more of, like, a fighting style, like, Jade Empire back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just very much more like a traditional, like, medieval
Yeah.
RPG game
Mm-hmm.
with character classes and all that stuff that you came to expect from BioWare,
Yeah.
which is what I thought made it harder for people to, like, accept that they were going more in the action direction
Yeah.
and losing some of those, like, really deep RPG elements that were in the first game.
Yeah, and I think with, like, one of the, I think it might have been Dragon Age Inquisition, which I never got to play it, but I heard a lot of people...
I never played that either, but...
I heard a lot of people love that one.
That was a
the most
return to
recent.
form in a way.
It was, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And on a lot of levels, like, an even deeper return to form, because
Mhm.
it, like, really expanded on, like, a lot of the
lore and the RPG elements and
Yeah,
the combat and everything.
I mean, to the point where it was like I didn't play it. Like, I wanted to play it, but,
Yeah.
like, personally, I didn't play it because at the time, I was like, I don't have, like, another 100 or 200
Right.
hours to put into a game right now, and that's what that game required. Like,
Yeah.
I remember it required an enormous amount of time.
It might have been around the same time, like, The Witcher 3 came out or something.
It was before that, but it
it?
was...
Yeah.
But there were other games, maybe another Mass Effect game. I can't remember what was out at that time. I'd have to look back, but
Yeah.
there were enough games out at the time where I was like, I just can't do
Right.
another 100, 200 hour RPG
Yeah.
game right now.
Same. Yeah.
And then I was like, at times I was like thinking maybe I'll go back and eventually play it, and then it was like, whatever. Like,
Yeah. They
time
kinda
moved on
passed
and other
it.
things.
You're like, I don't
Yeah.
even know if it's worth it at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it was interesting. Let's see.
Have you ever... Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm curious. Well, I was going to move on to the next question.
Oh.
Is that what were you going to ask?
No, go ahead. I don't...
I'm curious. What was a popular game everyone seems to love but you don't like? It might be easy.
Fortnite?
Yeah, that was actually one of the last questions I was going to say for that one.
I don't know. Maybe that's a little too easy.
For me, like, I know a lot of people love, like, Call of Duty and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like
definitely.
that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just never been, like...
I've...
I played, like, some of the earlier Call of Duty games
Mhm.
along, like, it was, like, after the phase of, like, Medal of Honor. You know,
Yeah,
they
I
kind of
loved-
phased into like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and like some of those.
Yeah,
and, like the World War II Call of Duty was good.
I love
but-
the World War II ones. I mean, those were like, that was my jam
Yeah.
for years.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because Medal of Honor sort of took a turn for like the worst.
Yeah, they
You
were.
know,
they
it-
kind of became just very like repetitive.
Yeah,
Like they
and-
were just doing a lot of the same stuff, and they were
Yeah.
just super linear.
And then I
too.
remember like Call of Duty came out, and it was like game changing. Like
Yeah.
it was such a good game. It just played so well, and it was like, man, this was showing up Medal of Honor so badly,
Yeah.
and it was so good. And then like Call of Duty 2 came out, another World War II,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Call of Duty game at the time, which that's all they were. They
Oh,
were
that's
only
right.
World War
Yeah,
II,
the
you
first
know?
couple. Yeah, they were.
And then they
only
did World at
II.
War on the PlayStation. I don't think that ever came to PC, which was like in my. Oh, maybe it did.
I think it
can't-
might have. Yeah.
I
can't
never
remember.
played it, but so a lot of people say that was their favorite Call of Duty game was World at War,
Yeah.
which I played it a little bit online. I remember they had a zombie mode that they added.
Yeah. That was the first one I think that added the zombies.
Yeah.
The Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've like literally never played a Modern Warfare game. Actually, I take that back. I played one Modern Warfare game. I installed it, played the campaign for less than 15 minutes, immediately uninstalled it, and moved on.
Yeah.
It was Black Ops 2, I think, was the one I played.
That was the one that I uninstalled as well. I didn't.
And I
Yeah.
couldn't believe how shoddy like the game, like the camp. It was whatever year that was that it played that, like 2010 or 20,
Something like that.
20
Yeah.
I don't remember when, but
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that like in the time that the last Call of Duty, which was Call of Duty 2, in that time that I had played that game, and they had all the other Call of Duty games in between,
Mm-hmm.
literally like nothing had changed.
Right.
It felt like a game that was dated 10 years ago, and I was like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So no offense to anybody that loves the Call of Duty series of games. You know, there's a huge following. I'm sure they're doing something right. You know, the
Yeah.
multiplayer online component is like,
I think that's why most people buy it too, is because
Right.
they like the competitive shooter.
and I'm
sort
just
of thing.
not like a competitive player. I've done my fair share of like competitive gaming. Like
Mhm.
you know, we used to play Gears of War and Halo 2
Battlefield
online.
1942.
Battlefield 1942 was great online. Like
Yeah.
you know, so I'm not like adverse to like playing competitive like shooter games and stuff online.
Mhm.
They can be extremely fun. I just personally never, you know, the Modern Warfare like era of
Yeah.
gaming just never really like did it for me. I was always like into World War II,
Me too. Yeah.
and now I hear that they're actually bringing World War II back. The next Call of Duty game is going to
Really?
be World War II. Yeah.
Well, they did. It was last year right? Or the year before they did. It was the last one they did was a World War II one.
Was it?
Yeah.
What did I just read then? Maybe I read something.
Maybe Battlefield possibly.
No, I thought it. I don't
Well,
know.
I know they.
We'll look.
Yeah, they did. Call of Duty's the last one. Not the last one they did, but because they have like a couple different ones that they do.
Mhm.
They like because they did. What was it? Black Ops 3, I think was the most recent
Yeah,
one.
I should look it up here.
And then, but I think last year or the year before they did a World War II one, which I thought it was like graphically it was awesome. I didn't like a lot of the aiming felt really weird in it compared to like
Oh,
all the other Call of Duty games.
that's weird.
Yeah, it was just like super linear. It wasn't, I don't know. I think they could have done a better job with like the story and everything.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There was this game, Call of Duty World War II.
Yep, it was just called World War II.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't really see it too well there, but
Yeah.
yeah. What was I reading then? Maybe I was reading something else.
Yeah, I know DICE has 2 Battlefield games coming this year.
Oh.
I don't know what they're focused on yet. I don't know if they actually announced what they are yet.
Okay.
But I'm curious. It would be cool to see Battlefield go back to like 1942 or something.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Maybe you're right. Oh, maybe it was Battlefield. Now that you say that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because I know last year they also came out with a World War II one.
Yeah.
It kind of like it was Battlefield 5, I think, is what it was,
Mm.
and it kind of like flew under the radar.
Yeah.
You know, like they like talked about it, and then everybody kind of forgot that it came out, and there was like a lot of things that they needed to fix with the game to get it back on its feet and everything.
Yep.
And a lot of people, I think, like Battlefield 1 more as a whole, which.
Yeah.
You know, like, I liked Battlefield 1 a lot. Like, even though there's, like, a lot of inconsistencies, like, you have automatic weapons and stuff, which, like, didn't exist in World War 1.
Yeah, it's, like, very strange, like...
It was very strange. But, you know, even with that being said, like, it was still, like, a really good game, and
Yeah.
the campaign was awesome, and the,
I never played it. I played a little bit online.
the online was fun. Yeah, the online was really good. And then it's different than like Call of Duty because you have more like squad based. Like it forces you to be in squads in order to succeed.
I mean, people were still running around doing whatever the hell they fucking pleased.
You still do. Yeah, but I think in order to actually like rank up, it's easier to do doing it with your squads and stuff. So, I'm trying to think. Yeah, we can move on to the next one. Mine was kind of like the same thing. Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see, like, jump ahead to some...
Let me know if there's one that you see that you want to go to.
I would say, have you ever had to stop playing a game because it was too scary?
Okay. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, you did. Recent.
Oh, what was that?
Resident Evil
2. Yeah, I did.
Remake.
Oh my god. Yeah. I wanted to finish Resident Evil 2 remake because I loved it. Like it was so good. And even like it wasn't even the fucking zombies that freaked me out. It was
the Nemesis or
it was was it Professor X? No, not Professor X. Fucking
whatever it is.
What are you doing in here, Professor?
Yeah, he's floating around on his chair. Fucking takes off his Afghan and whips you with it.
Like, oh shit. You're not even wearing fucking pants under there?
You're naked under there? What the hell, man?
That's how he shocks people. He doesn't even actually have telekinetic powers.
He has like suit pants from like only here down. He's naked.
So it looks like he's wearing pants. Oh my god.
He's like, oh man, I get hemorrhoids bad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a reason.
Get a lot of chafing, so.
Oh my god. Oh shit, what was it? Mr. X, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
The guy, I mean, you know, he's also bald too. Easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know if it was, I should go back and like either restart it.
You really should. It's such a damn good
dude,
game.
I feel like it was like a glitch in the game. Because I was like down in, you know, there's that, do you remember the interrogation room?
Yes.
It was like downstairs.
Yeah.
So you go back there and you can like hop through the glass.
Yep, I know exactly.
Like the glass is busted out. You can hop over it.
Yep.
And so then like I would go, the only way out, there was only one exit out of that room.
There's one hallway. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes up the stairs.
So I would go out of that hallway and I would hear him, like it sounded, I would hear him like wait for the footsteps to go all the way back upstairs. And then I would go like right out the fucking door and he would just fucking appear like at the end of the hallway.
Really?
And come chasing me down back into the room. And then like I did that a couple times and then finally like I would wait for his footsteps to go up. And this was the quitting point for me. Was I fucking come out of the room and literally he fucking busts through the wall like the fucking Kool-Aid man. And he's just like, hey! I was just like, no! I was just like, that's it. I'm done. Fuck you.
He's like, here's Johnny!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kool-Aid man's better.
I was just like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, and then he also had now this hole in the wall in the hallway where he can now come through there as well, even easier than like it was before. I was just like, damn you.
Yeah.
And I know you said it does get easier where you don't have to deal with them as much. So if I got to that point, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a eventual point in the game where I'm not gonna ruin it because like you should play it.
Yeah.
But there is an eventual like lull where like you really don't have to like put up with him as much.
Yeah.
He like goes away for a good portion. But yeah, the funny part is that, you know, if you go online and you look it up, I mean the game's been out like what? 2 years now.
Drew said, "Are we talking about Clock Tower?" No, we're talking about
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah,
and
Resident.
Mr. X.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Clock Tower.
Also
holy shit.
Also a very scary
Clock
game.
Tower on the PlayStation was fucking terrifying with the Scissor Man.
Oh
He's
yeah.
this fucking like hunchback fuck that would like walk around with his scissors.
But he moved really slow.
Well, he at first, then when
Yeah.
he'd see you, he'd like come at you like real
Oh,
fast
that's
and
right.
fucking like run at you like
And
a
it was,
goddamn.
wasn't it like side scrolling too? And you had to like
Yeah,
hide in the
fucker with the garden snips.
yeah. Garden snips.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm gonna circumcise you."
You're like, what? No. You're like, I don't even have a dick. I'm a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Like personally, I'm offended, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I don't know, but yeah, Clock Tower was just like miserable. That game was
Did you ever finish that game?
no. So like okay, which actually kind of brings me to like my game, right?
Yeah.
My choice. So my game would be Amnesia: The Dark Descent,
Yes.
and like I would say like Clock Tower is like on that level, which I'm glad Drew brought that up because like Clock Tower was like probably one of the first games of its kind where like you literally had like no recourse against like the fucking
the
like
villain or enemy or whatever.
yeah, it's like he would just like fuck you if he found you,
Yeah.
you know, like
So it was all just like hide and seek until you beat the game.
yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
hate those games.
Yeah.
I understand why they exist.
Yeah.
I don't like those games.
Yeah.
I want I need something
To fight back.
to fight back, even if it's like a goddamn like pipe or something.
Yeah.
Give me some way to fight back. Like
Yeah.
I
I
but
don't
like
know. That's like fucking that game Outlast. I don't know how I fucking beat that game.
I don't know how you did that. I didn't play that game because I just know like after having played The Dark Descent,
Yeah.
it's just not a game that I'm like driven to play. Like
Yeah.
I can appreciate what it is, like I said.
Yeah,
but it's
there's
just
a lot
not
of
my
cool
game.
stuff.
It's not my game. You
Yeah.
know?
There's a lot of cool stuff that they do, especially like Outlast Outlast as terrifying. There's a lot of penis and stuff in that game too. If you're not ready for it.
What?
Yeah, there's like one part you're like in the asylum where
Yeah.
there's like all these jailed insane people.
Yeah.
And you look through the bars on the other side and there's these like two twins that are just standing there like naked, just like cock and balls right there, and they're just like talking shit to you like they're gonna like do
God.
shit to you sexually, and you're just like, I'm extremely uncomfortable
That's
right
terrifying.
now. As if I wasn't already uncomfortable with like the whole theme of this game. Now you come at me with this and your gross penises, and now I'm even more uncomfortable. It's just like, I'm gonna walk away now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get the fuck out of here alive. And
Did Outlast have like red barrels?
what do you mean?
Like red explosive barrels?
No.
I thought it did.
I don't know.
I don't know why I thought it did. I thought I remember like some video like making fun of the
That
fact that red barrels.
Existed in it,
Yeah.
even though you don't have a gun.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
There's
but-
another game though that's like that. That Alien Isolation was really good. It's a very
Yeah.
similar game,
But
although
that game you actually get
you,
weapons.
You
right?
do get weapons.
So like that's
Yeah.
a game that I would play. Like I'm all for.
Yeah. It
I
is very hard.
I did
but
never play Isolation.
Yeah.
I feel like as I've gotten older, my tolerance for fear-based like horror games and things like that has significantly like been reduced.
Yeah.
Like I really have to like work myself up to play one of those games.
Yeah.
Call me a wussy, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
not much into it either, but
Yeah, I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. Like I love a good horror game.
yeah.
Like, but I have to be in the mood for it. And
Yeah.
it was just. Yeah, I never played it.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, and maybe at some point I will go back and actually play it because I love Aliens. I love that universe,
Yeah. And they did a really good job of like recreating the ship from the first movie.
The Nostromo, or
the Nostromo. Yeah, because you play as Ripley's daughter looking for.
That's right.
Ripley.
Yeah. And I thought what was most interesting about that game, for maybe people that don't know this, that was Creative Assembly, wasn't it? That created that?
Yes, I believe so.
So Creative Assembly, they're known for the Total War series of games.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like totally like
different,
out of their wheelhouse to design a game like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it won a lot of acclaim, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it definitely captured that feel of like especially like recreating those environments on the ship, like seeing those scenes.
Yeah, like the tone of the movies and everything was like done perfectly.
And like the CRT.
Because I've watched like videos on it, like
like the CRT screens and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
cool. It was perfect. Yeah, it had that '80s sort of like futuristic vibe and everything, and
kind of. This is not obviously part of the question or whatever, but it makes me think of when Sierra games was at like their height. No, it was Monolith.
Oh yeah.
When Monolith was like on a freaking roll.
The Fear games.
They came out with Fear and they came out with Condemned in the same year, almost back to back. Mm-hmm. And they were both just like phenomenal games. Condemned was a game that I couldn't finish. Like
I never finished.
I loved it.
I think I did
thought
finish
it was,
the first
or I didn't
one.
love it. No, I'm sorry. I liked it, but I thought it was like there were some terrifying aspects in that game.
Condemned 2 was the one that
I beat that one. That was
really good.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah.
The bear scene.
Oh fuck, dude.
That's like one of the scariest scenes in a game that I can remember.
Yeah. That thing comes like barreling through the fucking.
Yeah, but I was gonna mention Condemned because I wish.
It just says so. I guess you can say you didn't outlast the
heart. Yeah. Nice.
I'll be your whole name, but I'm.
Yeah, I really wish that that Monolith would come back with another Condemned game. It's a very strange. They just let it die. I don't know where it went. Like
it was very strange, but it was awesome. Like they had a lot of really cool mechanics in that game. The durability of your weapons, like in first person.
Well,
you
and
had,
also
like,
the investigative components of the game because you had like the UV light and the forensic, the camera and all that stuff, and you could like find clues. So it had like a detective element to it.
Yeah.
Which was like extremely like unique and not done before.
Yeah, you had to find like footprints, blood trails.
Yeah,
like,
there would be like creepy shit left on the walls.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was
super cool.
And the hand-to-hand combat element was really awesome in that game.
Yeah, I mean that era of you had like Fear, Condemned, Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah. Like
a bunch of like really good like first-person games that were like changing the landscape, so to speak, especially in the melee department where like they were really bringing like this visceral like first-person like melee feel. Mm-hmm. I mean, Fear didn't have that, but like Condemned and Riddick had it. And like those were so good. Anyway, we've gotten off on this tangent.
Riddick was awesome.
Time-wise, we should let's do one more question, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll do one more. Let's see. Let's see. Do you want to do has the storyline ever made you cry?
Yeah.
All right. Has a game storyline ever made you cry?
And we could even ask, if you want to, we should have been involving the people in chat, but we could even ask people, if you guys want to answer this too.
Yeah, you guys are definitely more than welcome to.
Yeah, if you guys want
to the chat.
We should have said that earlier, but
well, I did say in the beginning. I said if you guys have questions or want to answer anything, let us know. Which Drew did say Clock Tower.
Yeah, that's true.
100%.
So the question is, has a game's storyline ever made you cry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was... so mine... I think I mentioned this last time, and it was Valiant Hearts. And
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it was all like hand drawn and like kind of cartoonish looking, so it had like this kind of childish kind of look to it, but yet it had this like amazing soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack is phenomenal.
You know,
it's all like found music, like borrowed from other composers and things, but like so well put together.
Right. And it was and
the stories that were told
were excellent.
God,
yeah, because
so
it was like 4 or 5 different characters that you play as in different chapters.
Yeah.
And somehow like all of their stories link together. And you first play out as like the father, like a Frenchman.
Yep.
And like he's got a daughter that ends up marrying a German soldier, but like he ends up getting drafted to the German army. The father gets drafted to the French army.
Yep.
And then they end up like fighting on the battlefield against each other, and like the son almost kills the father or something like that. And then when he realizes that he's fighting against his own father-in-law, he like basically quits the other side.
Oh, right.
To go back
that's right.
and fight with the resistance and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's
very heart-wrenching.
It is one of the most heart-wrenching games I've played, and like also equally one of like, I mean, I would say one of the greatest games I've ever played. It was just so well done. The story and the way that they interwove like all of the actual like World War I history into the stories, like the actual artifacts and things that you could read about the history
when you collect them.
Yeah, the collectibles was like so freaking well done.
Yeah, because you would find like postcards of like actual pictures of World War I.
Yeah, it was just
from the battlefield, and it would say like this like talk about the brutality of like that of World War I.
Yeah, so it was like not only were you getting this like really amazing like story arc from like different characters, but like you said, that all kind of like combine at the end in a sense or collide. You were also getting like, in a sense, history lesson like in the game, and it did it in such like a subtle like but interesting way. That game was probably my game of the year.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
Whenever that was. Was that 2013 maybe? Or
something like that, yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember. For me, and then we'll just mention, Drew said Final Fantasy VII, which, when Ares dies, is Ares dies. That's like one of the most... I mean, at the time, we all know it now, you know? And that's why we're all questioning, like, where are they going to go with the second part of the remake?
Yeah.
Are they actually going to have her die again? You know, everybody knows that she dies. That's that was, like, the big, like, shattering moment in the original Final Fantasy, is that you weren't expecting that.
AJ says she dies. AJ, you knew this was coming. You've had many years to play it.
It's been like fucking 24 years.
Sorry, AJ. Apologize, man. Drew said Tomb Raider.
BioShock.
And wait, hold on a second, Drew. You cried during Tomb Raider? I don't know if you were answering the right question.
Yeah.
I would like you to elaborate why you cried through Tomb Raider. Not that I'm judging you for that, but
he cried when someone released the nude mod.
The nude mod. Those boobs.
Those boobs are just like
they're
a work of art.
Oh my god, that's amazing. And AJ said BioShock. Yeah. The good ending is one of them. The first, are you talking about the first BioShock or the first BioShock I think was the best in my opinion. Because BioShock 2 was good, but it wasn't as good as, like, storyline wise, it wasn't as good as the first one.
Right.
You know, and then they had BioShock Infinite, which like had good combat, but the story.
No, the story was good. The gameplay was horrible. It was a mess of a game. BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
Mess of a game.
I like the storyline of BioShock Infinite, where like all of the time loops and all that kind of stuff. It was like it almost like the ending of that reminded me of like Old Boy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Finding out that.
Don't ruin it.
Oh wait.
No, I've seen it, but some other people may not have seen it.
The movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say the ending of BioShock Infinite.
Oh.
Meaning like that he was actually the one who like kidnapped his daughter from the beginning and all that stuff. And it was like this whole mind fuck, and you're like, what?
BioShock, the first BioShock game, I would agree is,
it's
definitely amazing
awesome.
game.
Yeah.
BioShock 2 is also very good.
Oh, Drew says she went through a bunch of shit, bro.
Yeah, I know.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Out of the new series, Tomb Raider. Yeah, that was pretty like brutal. That journey for her,
Yeah, you go through all this stuff and save all the little girls, and they considered you a father, and were there with you until the literal end. Mm-hmm. Beautiful shit, man. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
For me personally, I would say, what was it? A Tale of Two Brothers.
Two Brothers, A Tale of... Wait, let me see.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, or I don't know.
I think so, yeah. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty.
A little glitch in the Matrix.
Yep.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons was an indie game that came out, I think, in like 2015, maybe 2016.
I think it sounds about right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that game honestly had like one of the most like gut-wrenching scenes in a game that I've ever experienced.
Keith yeeted himself off his own stream like Haley. She did that the one day. She was like in midst talking and then accidentally switched to the wrong scene.
Oh no.
Like it. She's like, and then I hear her, help! Yeah, I need to go and play that game because it looked awesome.
It's definitely amazing. It's an amazing game. And yeah, it's just got like the bond like that is told through the story with the two brothers helping each other through these challenges and trials and things is like beautiful. If you have any siblings, I think a lot of us can like relate to that, or family members or whatever that have gone through something, you've gone through stuff together. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's so powerful, but the way that it like juxtapositions that story with like the gameplay, where like the primary mechanic in the game is that one joystick controls one character, the other controls the other one. Yeah. And like you're one controller, but you're working both characters to accomplish get through the challenge and accomplish
like
what it is.
Puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's just like so freaking well done. Like that. Yeah. But anyway, it made me cry. Like the late game is just there's something that's like so sad and heavy later. I won't ruin it, but it was amazing. And then I would say, also outside of the question, just to mention, that developer who did that game, they did that Escape game recently.
Yes. What the hell was that? It was the one where they escaped from the prison?
Yeah. That was them.
Oh, okay.
And then their most recent game is... Let's look it up. Because it's got a lot of really good reviews.
I can't remember what that was. I felt tears for the dude in Wolfenstein. BJ?
BJ Blazkowicz.
BJ Blazkowicz. Yeah, that's right. There was some sad shit that happens in the new Wolfenstein games too.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh fuck, man.
Oh, it was Starbreeze. I didn't realize that.
Starbreeze?
Starbreeze was a developer. 505 Games.
Right.
Published.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to see on the camera, but
yeah. I know it's not a video game, but I'm still sad about it when Anakin kills the baby Jedis. Just saying. That was pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie. Yes. Yeah. It was a very sad story.
I
No
thought
eating.
maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I thought that they did do.
Younglings. No. Let's have a brief.
I was wrong on
brief,
that, actually. I'm sorry.
Brief moment of silence for the younglings.
I could have swore that it was the same developer, but it's not showing up on their wiki, so maybe the wiki's not right, or maybe I don't know.
Their newest one, you mean?
Well, the Escape game.
Oh.
I thought that was done by the same developer, but it's not showing up on their wiki, so I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Let's see.
Clicking off.
Yeah, keep clicking off and switching. Oh, A Way Out is what the other.
A Way Out. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. What is EA? There he goes again. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Way Out was a co-op. Yeah, there it is at the top. Look, scroll up. From the director of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. So the
Oh.
director, not the same developer, but the director.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeet. Yeah, I wonder why. If they had a. What developer is this though? Like what was it? Hazelight. EA Originals. Let me see. Hazelight Games Studios. Oh, It Takes Two is the new one.
That's the one I was just looking at. I just found it
Yeah,
right as you said
yes.
that. I was like, what is that?
I've heard really good things about It Takes Two. Is that and that's co-op? Is that co-op?
Yeah. I don't know if it's co-op or if it's just like more like a
Very similar.
the brothers
Because I think
game.
Well, I think the prison one. I think it is co-op actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is.
Yeah, I've wanted to play that actually.
Yeah,
That
so I
would be
think
really
this
cool.
one is too. It's co-op.
Yeah, that'd be cool to play that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
all right, that's probably enough time there.
I think we've talked for too long, and people are like, "Are you guys really like? Are you ever going to end this podcast?" This has just become like, "Hey, we're just hanging out."
Yeah, a 6-hour stream. We still got a long way.
Yeah,
to
we're
go,
going
guys.
for the Guinness Book of World Streams.
World podcasting streams.
Yeah.
Do you guys have better things to do? No, we do not. Nope. Drew says he wants to play that too. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, we have our retribution correction section. We're counting on you guys to help us build this podcast into something really great and worth your listen. So we'd appreciate just correcting us if we get anything wrong or mischaracterize things from time to time, which we can do because we're human. So this is your opportunity to kind of help us keep the record straight and future episodes, and we're counting on you guys to hold our feet to the fire. Just don't burn us too badly now. So if you're watching the video versions again,
Except until we join the bonfire that Haley keeps directing us to.
yes, we will join the bonfire in a minute, guys. Settle.
Then we'll
down.
get burned really bad.
Then we'll get burned really. So if you're watching the video version, the links are down below. I've been Keith Whelan. You can find me on Instagram at digital_denizens, Facebook at digital denizens, youtube.com is the digital denizens, twitch.tv/digital denizens, and follow the Instagram for New Game Plus Network also. So that's all the time that we got today for today's podcast. It's been awesome, Brad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Fun to be here in person finally.
I know. It is cool to do it when we can.
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys enjoyed what you heard, and we truly appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Digital Denizens. You have no idea how much it truly means that we're able to do the podcast, and that, you guys listen, write in, and as I always say, please like and subscribe, and keep your ear to the ground for more to come very soon, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Brub life. I don't know what that means. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I have been Keith Whelan, aka the Gamer Stache. This is one of my brothers, Bradley Whelan. You guys have a wonderful night and take care. Stay classy, San Diego. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Peace, guys.
You are listening to Digital Denizens.